Come on, dogs. Let's go find us some woodland treasures. The interior forests of British Columbia, Canada. Here grow various species of evergreen tree, all rich in a valuable natural resource, highly prized for its medicinal as well as its industrial applications. This is sap. In the realm of bushcraft, the sap from evergreen trees is truly a valuable and multifunctional resource. It's a resin that I harvest whenever possible, and it's important to always harvest responsibly by assuring to leave a thin layer to protect the wound from fungal and insect damage. Never scrape it down to the wood. Over time, the tree will continue to produce and add sap to the wound site. Today I'll be crafting a biotorch, an old school method of casting light into the darkness, keeping the shadows and the predators at bay. I begin by seeking out a hilt for the torch. It's best to use live wood as it's less likely to catch fire. Here we go. This'll make a perfect hilt. Evergreen resin is a highly flammable substance that will ignite off a spark, making it the perfect fuel source for my primitive torch. Playing with turpentine! Now it's time to get this cut down to size. This kukuri is my favorite backcountry tool. I made this bird's nest using old man's beard and dry twigs. I placed a ball of spruce resin in the middle and sprinkled it all with crystallized pine sap dust off a nearby tree. No way this isn't sparking real fast. I don't normally use a ferrocerium rod to start my fires in the backcountry. Although it is a good skill to have, I normally prefer my Bic lighter. Les Stroud was asked what his preferred fire starting method was. He said, my Bic. When they asked him what his backup method was, he said, my other Bic. Here we have both spruce and pine resin. What I am about to do, I would not recommend doing at home. But for the sake of time in the video, I'm going to quickly melt the sap. You've got to be very careful and remove it periodically to make sure that it doesn't spark, as it has a very low ignition point. For this torch, I'm using a length ripped from an old cotton shirt. The material is dipped in the melted sap and wrapped tightly around the hilt. Once wrapped, the torch is slowly heated over the fire to allow the resin to further saturate the cloth. This is what it looks like completed and ready for use. I believe it just makes sense to be ready for nighttime before the sun sets. Always have your fire essentials prepared ahead of time so you don't need to wander around at night to gather wood. Be proactive, not reactive. Later that night. As you can see, the flame throws out a fair amount of light. The wrap acts as a wick for the sap, which melts with the heat of the fire. The biotorch is a reliable way to light your trek into the darkness, and all you need to do is source the materials to craft one. Just get accustomed to harvesting evergreen sap at every opportunity. With its various functions, the resin truly is a woodland treasure. One thing to be vigilant of is the fact that a biotorch will at times drop small balls of molten fire. It's imperative that you stomp out these occasional arsonists before you cause a wildfire. Always use fire responsibly. With a total burn time of 47 minutes, it's easy to see why it is advantageous to craft a couple biotorches to keep at the ready when out in the wilderness overnight. And hey, they spark up instantly when you use a Bic. Good night all.